A 210-pound English Mastiff was left behind with the house. When the bank took the farm on Route 9G outside Rhinebeck, New York, the family took the furniture, the tractor, and the truck. They left the dog. Samson lived under the back porch for 46 days on whatever a neighbor threw over the fence. Then a 33-year-old woman bought that farmhouse at auction for $61,000, sight unseen. And when she found him under there, the whole town told her to call animal control. She didn't. And a $40 trail camera she nailed to a maple tree to catch raccoons recorded the exact moment Samson decided she was worth more than the family who drove away. Delaney Cross was 33 and restored old houses for a living, alone with a nail gun, a bad shoulder, and a truck older than she was. For 9 years, contractors and loan officers and her own brother had told her a woman could not do this by herself. She had stopped arguing. She bought houses nobody wanted, made them beautiful, and sold them to people who never asked who had done the work. The Route 9G place was the worst one yet. 4 acres, a collapsed dairy barn, a roof with holes in it, and a smell in the kitchen she never did identify. Nobody else bid. She heard him before she saw him. A sound under the back porch like a large animal breathing through a wet towel. Delaney got down in the dead grass with the flashlight, and a foot from her face was the biggest head she had ever seen on a living thing. Fawn-colored, a black mask, eyes buried in folds of skin. He did not growl, he did not move. He looked at her, and then he looked past her, out toward the road, the way you look when you are still expecting somebody. I still see you haven't subscribed. Everybody laughed at this dog too. Don't be like everybody. Tap subscribe. The neighbor across the road, Rosalind Pike, walked over and told her his name was Samson. The family who lost the house had raised him from a puppy. When the marshals came, they loaded the truck and drove down the driveway, and Samson ran behind that truck for almost a mile before he stopped. That was 46 days ago. Samson had not left the property since. Then Rosalind said what the rest of Rhinebeck would say to her all winter: "Call the county. He's 210 pounds. He's been living out here alone for 6 weeks. So have you." Delaney did not call the county. She drove into town, bought 40 pounds of food and a metal bowl, set it on the grass 10 feet from the porch, and sat down on the steps with her back to him. It took Samson 4 days to eat while she was outside. It took him 11 days to let her touch him. It took 6 weeks before he came into the house. And when he finally did, Samson walked through every room, stopped in the empty back room, stood there a long minute, and then went back out onto the porch and slept there anyway. That was the part that broke her. Samson would eat her food, let her pull burrs out of his coat, lean his enormous head against her hip while she stripped wallpaper. 210 pounds of dog, leaning like a fallen door. But he would not sleep inside, and every night, sometime in the dark, he left. Her brother drove up from Poughkeepsie in October to help with the roof and laughed for a solid minute at the sight of Samson asleep on the porch boards. "You bought a haunted house and it came with a horse," he said. Then he said, the way he always did, that she collected broken things because she was one. Delaney told him the shingles were in the truck. The camera was not for Samson. She had raccoons in the barn, so she nailed a $40 trail cam to the maple at the corner of the yard and forgot about it for 2 weeks. When she pulled the memory card at the kitchen table, she found her raccoons. She also found Samson. Every night at 4 a.m., give or take a minute, Samson came down off the porch, walked the fence line to the end of the driveway, and sat at the mailbox facing south down Route 9G. Not lying down, sitting up, ears forward, watching an empty road in the dark for 20 minutes. Then he stood, turned around, and walked back to the porch. He had done it for 46 nights. Samson was waiting for a truck. Delaney sat at that table until the sky grew gray. You can be completely loyal to people who are never coming back, and it does not make you stupid. It makes you a dog with a good heart at a mailbox at 4 in the morning. If you have ever waited at the end of a driveway for somebody, you already know exactly what that footage looks like. She started leaving the back door open. Samson still slept on the porch. She stopped asking him not to. Winter came hard. In January, an ice storm glazed Dutchess County and took the power out from Red Hook to Kingston. Delaney went out at 4 in the morning with a headlamp to open the spigot before the water line to the barn froze. She never made it to the barn. Behind the collapsed dairy shed, there was a milk cellar, a concrete pit 9 feet deep with a wooden hatch that had been rotting since before she owned the place. Under a skin of ice, in the dark, it looked exactly like ground. She went through it. Delaney landed on her right ankle and heard it break. Her head hit the concrete wall. Her headlamp cracked and went out. Her phone was in the kitchen on the charger. It was 19 degrees, and she was at the bottom of a concrete box on a property where nobody would look for her for days. She screamed until she could not, and 40 yards away at 4:02 a.m., Samson did not go to the mailbox. The trail camera caught all of it because the maple faced that corner of the yard. It shows 210 pounds of English Mastiff come down onto the ice, turn south toward the road the way he had every other night, stop dead in the driveway, and lift his head. Then Samson turns around. He goes to the milk cellar, circles the hatch twice, lies down flat with his chest against the ice, pushes his face into the hole, and stays there for 6 minutes while she screams underneath him. Down in the dark, she could not see him. She could only hear him breathing above her, and she stopped screaming because she was not alone anymore. Then he stands up and he runs. Rosalind Pike woke at 4:19 a.m. to something hitting her front door hard enough to crack the frame. She thought it was the storm. When she opened it, there was a mastiff on her porch with blood on his paws from the ice, and when she took one step toward him, Samson turned and ran 400 yards back down the road, stopped, and waited for her. She followed him in her nightgown and her husband's boots. The blood on the snow behind him ran the whole way. The Rhinebeck Fire Company had Delaney out of that cellar by 5:40 a.m. Her core temperature was 91 degrees. In the ambulance, a paramedic told her that another hour down there and they would have been recovering a body instead of transporting a patient. The same 210-pound mastiff that an entire town told her to have removed. The same dog her own brother laughed at on the porch steps. The same dog who had spent 46 nights at a mailbox in the dark, waiting for a family that loaded a truck and drove away from him. Samson did not go to the mailbox that night. He had decided, finally, that the person who was actually there mattered more than the people who were not. Delaney was in a cast for 11 weeks. The roof sat unfinished. The house did not sell that spring, and she says it was the best year of her life. Samson sleeps inside now. He came in on his own 3 nights after the ice storm, walked past the empty back red room without stopping, and lay down in the doorway of hers. He still steals her tape measure and carries it around like it is a job he was hired for. He still leans on her while she works. 210 pounds of dog, like a fallen door. Samson has not gone to the mailbox once. Rosalind put a photograph of him on the corkboard at the feed store, and under it she wrote his name and the words, "That dog saved Delaney Cross." The men who laughed at him in October know his name now. Everybody in Rhinebeck knows his name. We are so quick to decide which animals are worth keeping. The big ones, the old ones, the ones somebody else already gave up on. And every so often, one of them sits in the dark for 46 nights, waiting for a family that is never coming back, and then chooses you anyway. So tell me, did Delaney rescue Samson, or was Samson just waiting for somebody who would finally stay? Drop your answer in the comments. And if a dog the world laughed at ever walked into your life, say his name.